Hello, and welcome back to Suzerain with the Republic of Swordland. In today's episode, we continue on. Let's hear about our whistleblower and how he's doing. Agent Hailstone has revealed intelligence about a secret nuclear weapons program developed in Rumburg. Our intelligence has verified the details relayed about a heavy water facility in the north of the kingdom and a ballistic missile test site. The agent will be provided security under the protection program and will be given research to transfer further intelligence to our units. Whoa. What's your... I don't know what the new status is, whatever. Anti-government protest. Yesterday morning, a group of protesters assembled in front of the Gelsword City Hall, and Aviant dispersed. The group was responsible for blocking out vehicles, including city buses and transport trucks. They've been handing out anti-government pamphlets to passerbyers. The mayor of Gelsword reported that the situation posed no active danger, and that people are only exercising their right to protest. Yeah, that's fine by me. Gang violence claims more lives. Now this is not fine to me. The police chief of Estord reported that the local police forces are overburdened in their fight against the currently crime syndicate. According to the report, over the last month, 3 policemen, 6 civilians, and 11 mob members have been killed by the ongoing war between Skinner Tartel and Cornelli. Suzerain protests. Thousands of British people have gathered in protest and called for the special zone to be abolished. All for it. Governor reported that certain groups within the protesting crowd vandalized shops and public properties, and the regional police force intervened. According to the report of the police, the group dispersed, but hundreds were wounded. The police also said to have found 11 illegal Rumburgian-made pistols in the crowd. Address to the Nation speech. Office of the Prison Swordland, Marine Palace. Lucy and I walked into my office in the Marine Palace to make an address to the nation speech. It was unusually crowded today. Cameras, lights, and microphones were set in place, and the crew was standing by, ready to start filming. Are you ready, sir? Yes, let's do this. Good. I think the crew is ready. As soon as you take your seat, we can go live. I took my seat and rearranged my note on the desk. As a crew member, powdered my face with a cotton puff. After everybody was ready, the director gave the sign to start filming. I looked directly into the camera. My fellow swords. I'd like to speak about the events of the past months, about a great historic effort to give the words freedom, fairness, and hope new meaning and power. I began my term with one goal, to transform Swordland into a modern democracy. My ambition did not waver, even as forces within my own government conspired against me. The Assembly could not conceive of a Swordland, in which minority voices were represented and amplified. Yet even they would have passed my reforms if Sol himself had intervened. But I will tell you this, I am not done fighting for you. I have not given up on my commitment to equality and justice. I mean, I agree with this, but the future is in our hands as well. Together as a country, there's no end to what we can achieve. I took a deep breath. Lucian shooed a fly away from my forehead. With reform now off the table, I shall keep following through on my promise to improve Swordland's healthcare system. I'd like to thank my chief strategist, Lucian Gallade, for standing by me. Lucian smiled to himself slightly. A Magnus Westcor, Vector and Sista! The director gave the cut signal, and the cameraman stopped filming. My speech was finished. Good. I think that went well. Oh, that was it. That was the end of this that was the end of this part. Well, I could have done that in the last episode. I didn't realize that. Revelations. Alright, what are relevant... if I can talk. Which I can't, obviously. Oh, all geopolitical, okay. Quinol's Anti-Piracy Summit, united effort to combat rising piracy. Mustapal, Prime Minister Riza Nigadol of Kinol, hosted a crucial anti-piracy summit, bringing together leaders and representatives from the Kinol Economic Cooperation and other Zinal nations, such as Zinila, Narashima, and Finoko. The conference aimed to address the alarming rise in piracy incidents in the region and focus on developing a united and coordinated response to protect maritime interests and combat piracy funded by certain ATO nations and private military companies. During the summit, Nagoda emphasized the importance of fostering cooperation and solidarity among the participants nations. Piracy poses a severe threat to our economies, maritime trade, and regional stability. It is essential for us to join forces and tackle this menace head-on, working together for the safety and well-being of our citizens, Nagoda stated. The summit led to several key outcomes, including the establishment of joint naval patrols, enhanced intelligence sharing, and capability-building initiatives for the nations involved. Additionally, representatives stressed the need to address the root causes of piracy, such as poverty, unemployment, and weak governance in some of the affected nations, as well as concerns over piracy being funded by certain ATO countries and the PMC, or PMCs. The Mostapal Declaration was signed, outlining the participating countries' commitment to strengthening maritime security in the region and combat piracy through collective efforts. The leaders of Zilina, Narshima, and Finoko expressed their support for the declaration, marking a significant milestone in regional cooperation. This development signals a new era of collaboration among the Zinal nations as they endeavor to secure their maritime borders and ensure the prosperity and safety of their citizens, while addressing the complex issues of piracy funding. Walker wins Arcatian election, stabilizing Arcatia amid stagnation. The recent Arcatian elections have come to an end, with incumbent Dwight Walker narrowly winning re-election against Charles Javex of the Reformist Union Party. Javex's campaign was notable for the first time sponsored by the prominent private military corporation Cerberus International. With a margin of just 5%, Walker's victory has brought a sense of stability in Ventry City following a turbulent campaign season marked by unprecedented political assassination and corporate meddling. Walker's re-election has been attributed to the successful efforts in lifting a significant portion of the population out of poverty during his previous term. However, despite these achievements, Arcatia's economy has recently shown signs of stagnation. Experts argue that the slowdown may be due to the high expeditionaries associated with the ATO alliance and the ongoing Cold War against United Cortana. Past decades saw significant cuts to welfare funding to make up for the military expenditures necessarily. Adding to the complexity of the political landscape, tensions have risen between Rumburgian migrants and Arcatian citizens. Walker, who has Rumburgian heritage, has faced criticism and suspicion from some segments of the population. Despite these challenges, Walker has emphasized the importance of unity and inclusion in his political agenda. In his victory speech, President Walker of the Democracy Party acknowledged the challenges ahead and vowed to work towards a more inclusive and prosperous society, maintaining Arcatia's core principles. Queen Beatrice demands reparations for century-old alleged war crimes. Queen of Rumburg, Beatrice Livingston, brought up the Estord incident of the 15-Day War, igniting the forgotten century-old debate of Swordish war crimes. She spoke about the need for peace and change in eastern Mercopa, and that the way forward can only be walked if the past atrocities are finally settled. Queen Livingston claimed that the Swordish army in 1870 had massacred ethnic Rums with plans of committing genocide. Sutherland still hasn't claimed any responsibility for the past war crimes, said the Queen, and demanded reparations to be paid. Hundreds killed in Hedgeland. According to the reports, the riots in Hedgeland had already resulted in the arrest of thousands. The number of deaths is believed to have surpassed 100. Agnolian government has still not released a statement about the bloody conflict. The riots in Hedgeland had exploded out of proportion in the aftermath of the murder of the Valgish Hedgelander. The majority of the arrests and deaths belonged to the Valgish community in the island. Governor Hedgeland claimed that the riots were being incited and supported by the Vaglandian government. Alright then. Seems interesting. Oh, radical journalist killed en route to interview. A devastating incident in Vissord has shaken the journalist community. A reporter from the Radical was killed while traveling to interview Rebar Lemin, the influential founder of the State Educators Corp and known ally of Turkensul. This event has sent shockwaves across the city and is currently under thorough investigation. The motives behind the act and its potential ramifications on press freedoms remains topics of grave concern. Gerrymander police issue. A massive miscommunication between the Interior and Grand Army has resulted in failed raid in Vissord. The Ministry of Defense and Interior both put the blame on each other. There will be a gathering soon to solve the ongoing dispute within the security. Interesting. King of Rumburg. Queen demands reparations for 15-day war. Queen Beatrice of Livingston has called for reparations to be paid for the so-called past atrocities that occurred during the 15-day war. Rumburg demands that the price of past wrongdoings must be paid if a path to peace is opened between the two nations. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is analyzing the situation, coming up with a plan of action. Thank you. Departure of President's son from home. Yeah, he's gonna be going pretty far. It was a cloudy, rainy day in Holsword. The gloomy weather echoed my own feelings. My constitutional changes had been defeated. I was back to square one. I couldn't spend the day moping, however. Frank was finally about to leave home. My son piled the last of his bags next to the door. Serge and the assistant driver were waiting outside next to the car. Did you pack everything? Don't forget to give me a call immediately after you arrive. I will. I think I'm all packed. Monica helped him put his backpack on while Serge started carrying the luggage to the car. I made you a sack lunch. I'll get it from the kitchen. She dashed down the hall. Frank and I turned to face each other in the doorway. So, I guess this is it. Don't forget from where you come, son. How could I? I'm the president's son. Frank shifted his weight nervously. I haven't forgotten what you told me about your university years. I hope going to a new country gives me a chance to prove myself the same way you did. Yeah. Don't model your life on mine. You're your own man now, Frank. Frank smiled. All right, Dad. At that moment, Deanna rushed to the door. Frank, I'm gonna miss you. I'll miss you too. Don't forget, you've got to give Mom and Dad extra hard time for both of us now. Deanna nodded. Okay. Frank picked up his sister and gave her a big hug. Monica appeared in the doorway, holding a paper bag. I cut the crust off the sandwich just the way you used to like. I'm not a kid anymore, Mom. Can a mother pretend? Oh, Frank. She embraced him with tears in her eyes. Frank looked as if he was about to cry as well. I caught her glaring at me over his shoulder. I hoped someday she would understand why I decided to send him away. I mean, I literally decided to send him away because I privatized the system and I have no money. That I hope that's literally why. But yes, I had to be harsh on him. You know, can't give him exactly what he wanted. That would be, that would not be right. Yup, that's it. That is definitely it. Yup, 100%. Sir, Frank needs to catch the next ship to the United Gratana, which leaves from Corjet port in 4 hours. We will have to leave now to make it. Thank you, Serge. Frank turned around and took one last look at me. Make me proud. Frank nodded before heading to the car. It's difficult to see them grow and leave, isn't it? Just make sure he gets there safe and sound, Serge. Of course, Mr. President. Being exposed to a different culture, different beliefs, it changes a man. I think it will be a liberating experience for him. It's never easy for boys to live in the shadow of their fathers. It must be even harder when one's father is Anton Rain. A great man like you cast a very long shadow. Well said. He nodded, looked at his watch. Time to go. Frank waved his hand as he entered the car. The engine started and they were on their way. Monica stood next to me as they drove away. Her eyes were teary. There he goes. It already feels different. She put her hand on my shoulder. I stroked her hair supportively. She turned to me and kissed me on the cheek, put her head on my shoulder again. With the defeat of your reforms, I hope we will be alright. We watched for a few more minutes, even after the car was no longer in sight. There he goes. Oh, now we get personal wealth. Now we get personal wealth. Why do we have personal wealth now? We could have used that before. Frank Rain is the son of Anton Rain and Monica Rain. He studied at Holsard Marquis High School and currently studies medicine at People's University in United Cortana. There's our boy. Dispute with the Interior. The Ministry of Defense and the Interior are currently engaged in a legal dispute over the control and jurisdiction of the Grand Army. The dispute has caused tension between the two agencies and raised questions about the proper balance of power between military and civilian authorities in Swordland. Dispute with the military. The Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Defense are currently in a legal dispute regarding the jurisdiction control of the Grand Army forces. This has led to tensions between the two ministries and their respective personnel. The dispute is yet to be resolved, causing uncertainty and potential issues in the future. What do we got on the news? President's son since the UC. Showing his masterful grasp of diplomacy, President Rain elected to send his son, Frank, to study at the People's University of United Cortana. The young Scion undoubtedly had a plethora of prestigious educational institutions to pick from, so the choice of United Cortana can only be seen as an attempt to curry favor with the Eastern superpower, so Ren is sure to reap the benefits of this wise decision. Oh, that is the most propaganda-y thing I've seen in there. That is total propaganda right there. Oh my goodness, that's good work. That is some good, fine twisting of the truth the media did there. That's why I hit them on my side. Oh, that was some good, just like twist to the truth. It's not a lie per se, fully, but there's definitely some twisting there that makes it not fully true. In fact, quite untrue in some ways. So good job, media. Thank ya. I'm glad to have you on my side. Vexlandian ships harassing the entire Marquian Sea. Recent reports from the Marquian Sea show that the tensions in the region are at an all-time high. After the deployment of the Agnolian Navy around Hegeland to contest the patrolling Vaxlandian fleet, both sides collided with each other on several occasions so far. In one incident, a Vaxlandian destroyer is said to have fired at an Agnolian cruiser. According to the Agnolian government, Vaxland is trying to force its hand, and that the Agnolian Navy may need to properly intervene if left. With no other options, other reports come from Swordland, which has reported 4 of their sea vessels have been blocked and harassed by the Vaxlandian fleet. That's not good. Vaxlandian harasses Swordish ships. Vaxlandian Navy ships have steered a dozen Swordish cargo ships out of their shipping lanes this week, leading to a maritime safety organization to change the sea routes. The new path to United Cortana or Acacia is twice as long, but avoids potential contact with the Vaxland Navy. The Swordish Navy Admiral has called the Vaxlandian actions reckless and a potential threat to civilian lives due to a high risk of collisions. The Admiral dispatched several frigates to protect the maritime borders. Also, that episode where I was talking about, oh, that's a super rare achievement, you're welcome for showing you how to do it, it actually is straight up my second rarest achievement. It's only 6% of people have it, I think it said. Like, it was a pretty small number. And the only achievement I have that is rare is, drinking with the Cortanan Security Pact leader that I did in my communist run. Apparently, that is the only thing that can be cheaper or do more than that. Oh, read the report. We got a report here. President's salary increase. The Grand National Assembly discussed to pass new law increasing the yearly salaries of elected officials, including that of the President's Swordland. So that's where I got my personal wealth fund. Well, I wish you would have done that a little earlier so I could send my son to college here. But nope, that was all a political stunt. Nothing wrong with that, as the newspaper said. Gossam Financial Report. The highly anticipated report from Gossam has arrived. Minister Sipan Hole and Gus Menger underlines the significance of this document as it outlines the return on state-held shares. This is reflecting the recent performance of one of the nation's pivotal economic energy providers. The Treasury will perceive a transaction if there are positive returns. Yeah, we'll take our returns. Why wouldn't we? Nice. We got some money out of that. Gas and profits stagnate. Treasury to see minimal impact. Gas's most recent reports paints a picture of stagnation, with profits showing only minimal growth. The state-held shares in the company will yield low returns, indicating a challenging period for the energy giant. The Treasury's upcoming transaction will reflect this flat performance, underlying the unpredictable nature of the energy sector. I don't know, man. I'd take 1. I'll take I'll take a government budget increase by 1. I don't see anything wrong with that. Especially because I still got my shares there. Like, I can just sit on it. It'll probably go up in the future more. Great. The government will keep getting some extra budget. Nothing wrong with that. Lucian and I sat in my office, waiting for Peter. I was at my desk, and he was on the sofa, legs crossed. Sir, I have some news for you. I've organized several events around the greater Holsword and Nargis to promote our party and talk about our achievements. Our most successful mayors will be leading the campaigns in their cities. They've asked for a budget increase in order to campaign more efficiently. I'll give them whatever they need. That will certainly help our chances of success. He looked at his watch again. Looks like Mr. Vice President is late yet another time. He lowered his voice. I am slightly concerned about Peter. He seems to have his mind occupied. He's been late to almost every meeting we've had recently. I noticed it too. I need to talk to him in private sometime. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. It was Peter. He walked inside with files in both hands. Gentlemen? Welcome, Peter. Have a seat. Thank you. He placed the files on my table, took out several documents, and organized them in front of me. Here's everything, just as you asked. Our plans for our next reforms. We can use your presidential decrees to enact reforms now. We have enough political capital. I also brought a list of suggested reforms from our party. What are your thoughts, Anton? I have a few ideas myself. I took a look at the documents. No. I just sign it. That's what I want. I want capital punishment. Immediately. No. Yeah, let's purge those general staffs. Yeah, these stuff I cannot do, though I don't really care. Amnesty for all Soul-era political prisoners. Actually, I will read all of these. Capital punishment. Swordland's prisons have hundreds of high-profile criminals serving time. Capital punishment was outlaws in the 40s, but a new decree can reinstitute it for high crimes if dangerous criminals were found guilty through a fair judicial process. Right to own and bear arms. Currently, citizens aren't allowed to own guns, except for licensed hunters. A decree would allow each citizen the right to bear arms after a base background check. Machine guns would require special permits by police chief districts. Purge general staff. Swordsland history is riddled with coups, and there's always the danger of another one happening due to the tremendous influence our general staff has. Purging general staff and replacing them with loyal but less experienced counterparts will tip the fragile balance in the army, but we'll be able to act with more safety and security. That's the same one. Apparently I really want to do that. Relocation of teachers and doctors to rural areas. The rural areas of Swordsland suffer from a lack of teachers and doctors to provide welfare services for local populace. Through a decree, we can order the relocation of unemployed teachers and doctors to areas that lack staff in education and health. That actually would be cool. But we can't do that. Remove independence of the central bank. The central bank is independent to determine the monetary policy of the country. And the decree would remove the independence of the central bank by putting it under the presidency, giving the executive more direct control over monetary strategy. Whoa, that's a big one. Remove religious symbols from public. Symbols of religion like the Nurti star can be displayed in public life, including government buildings. A presidential decree can ban the display of all religious symbols from the public to further remove religious influence from daily life. Man, those are some of those are deep, big things. Oh, there's established semi-autonomous zone. Let's ignore it. No. The political persecution of the post-Civil War era left thousands of prisoners waiting for their life sentences in prisons like Antal Rock. A presidential pardon decree for all political prisoners would see arbitrarily persecuted activists and thought leaders regain their freedom. Established semi-autonomous zone in Bergia. The proposed Bergia Autonomy and Local Governance Act seeks to transition Bergia's governance from central control to semi-autonomy. If enacted, the act will introduce a locally elected council for managing regional affairs. The goal is to enhance Bergia's local autonomy and foster more direct democratic participation. And yeah, that's the one. That's the one that we're looking at. Sign. Yes. Establish this. Alright, now we don't want. Oh man, too late. Okay. De-Stalinism. Or Stalinism. Oh god. De-Stalinization. Yep, that's what that. Yep. Man, I'm good at this. De-Solinization. Okay, get out of here, history brain. We're not in history class right now. We're in Suzerain. The influence of President Sol is in every facet of society, with his portrait, statues, and name dotting every possible spot. The administration can begin desolinization process with decree to remove the colder personality that had been established around the second president. That's definitely one thing that's one option. I do like that option. We can't do, there's so many I want to do here. But that's one thing that seems good. Trade and commerce in Swordland has few regulatory measures, resulting in unfair competition at times. A new Fair Trade Commission can be established via decree to push for fair market competition by protecting local industries through new regulations. Alright, I also like that. Gender equality in education. Swordland's education system has difficult classes and curriculum for genders. Through a new decree, we can provide gender equality in the education system by reverting heterogeneous studies that were imposed by traditional education doctrine in the mid-30s. Okay, well, I also like that. I'm already past I can only do 2 more. Oh, some of these this one gives one government budget. All prisons in Swordland are run and funded by the Ministry of the Interior. A decree could be passed to allow private companies to construct and operate prisons for profit, while still adhering to the rules and guidelines in the Interior. I am doing, privatization a lot. At this point, I just want everyone, pretty much. Rural education institutes. Swordland lacks technical and theoretical institutes for rural regions, causing people to migrate to cities for opportunities. A new directive would see the construction of hundreds of education institutes that would teach the rural population a technical and theoretic skills. Requires one government budget. So, I like that one, but because there's a lot I like, I might not do it just because, whoa. Free prescription medicine. Prescription medicine in Swordland is partially paid by the Ministry... is partially paid by the Ministry of Health according to the importance of the medication. The price has even gone up due to our privatization. A new decree would allow all citizens to get their medication completely free. True, we privatize the industry, then pay for everyone's stuff. It kind of evens out. We give the prescription medication for free after privatizing the industry. Well, we're not making it free, we're paying for it, so... weird middle thing. Lower retirement age. The retirement age of Swordland has been increased to 65 in the mid-1940s due to economic stagnation. The voting blocs are requesting a decrease. Our administration can pass a decree that would lower the retirement age to 60. Supreme Council of Swordish Radio and Television. Freedom of speech is protected in Swordland, but with the rise of new media, private organizations gained a massive influence in society. With a new decree, we could create a government agency, the SRSC, that could protect the independence of the media or control it. Well, we already have good control of the media. I don't want to do that. Enact value-added tax. A new decree is set to enact a 20% value-added tax. This tax addition, targeting all sectors, is strategy to generate fresh tax revenues amidst increasing financial pressures. Businesses will collect and remit the tax to the Ministry of Economy, marking a significant readjustment. Interesting. I think I'm going to ignore anything that gives me money or takes money. I think I'm going to ignore all the stuff down here, because there's things I like that don't have... I think I'm going to stick with these. I think I'm just going to do desolinization and gender equality in education. I would love to do this. Yeah, I'm going to do those two. And that's what I'm doing. Are you sure you are done with the decrees you want to enact? Yes. Following a brief discussion, I took notes about my decisions. Approving the new semi-autonomous zone could be the most major decision you've made today. Bergia gets to choose its own governor now. Let's hope whoever they elect doesn't steer them too far away from the central government. Nobody but you could have done something like this, Anton. Sir, this will alienate all of your supporters who harbor even the slightly nationalist sentiments. I was aware of that when I made my decision, Lucian. Of course, sir. I know it's gonna alienate a lot of people, but this is a decision that I'm doing because, one, I think it will stop a potential civil war. Two, I think it's for the good of the people. Like, it's not the good for the economy, though, apparently. Peter took a close look at the papers I signed. De-Stalinization, huh? You've got some balls, Anton. I knew you wouldn't stop at taking one of his portraits down. Yeah, oh boy, we are gonna make a lot of people angry with my plans. In fact, specifically conservatives. Now that look, I think my character, his vote failed. The conservatives were the ones that caused the vote to fail. We know that to be true. I mean, my character already had these beliefs that these things should happen, but it feels like they're also trying to punish the conservatives with this sort of stuff. Like, even if we lose the election, I'm taking out all this stuff first. It kind of feels like that's what's happening. Sir, this may create a lot of frustration and anger among conservatives. Let's not forget the fact that we are openly attacking the founder of our party. A very risky move right before the elections. The real change doesn't come easy, Lucien. You know that. Of course, sir. I was not protesting the decision, but we're explaining the situation. That's all. Looks like either Miss Water or First Lady had a huge influence on your other decision. It's about time you went after equal rights for the ladies, if only because all those women marches are starting to get annoying. This will, however, anger a lot of Man, this just keeps happening. You keep repeating yourself. Let us not forget the fact that the biggest bulk of our voters aren't socially liberal. This is a risky move right before the elections. Look, I think I just lost the elections off of those things I just did right there. I might have just lost the elections right there. I'm gonna throw like 3 government budgets at get drumming up support though. Half of the country is women, Lucien. Yes, but how many of them are actively involved with these demands for change? It is a mistake to make generalizations because of the vocal minority. But let's move on. It's the 20th century and we still don't guarantee some basic rights for women. This is unacceptable. I understand, sir. Well, we both respect your decisions, Anton, but now that everything's settled, I should get to work. We'll catch up soon. Lucien looked at his watch. We actually have 6 more minutes, but very well, let's call it here. Thank you both. Oh, I'm excited to read the Radical, and we got a lot of situation changes. I think, look, we just hurt our economy quite a bit with stuff we did. We probably just hurt our election chances quite a bit. We probably caused a lot of people to hate me. You know, this probably just destroyed my election chances, but you know what? Sometimes when things are going down, you push yourself further down to make everything else better. Simple as that. Let's hope this doesn't backfire immensely. But anyways, for now, I think this is a good time to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.